So I'm going to show you the problem. These graphs come from the most recent issue of the central bank bulletin. We're not borrowing enough now. The boom has bust. People aren't rushing to buy, to take out mortgages. And so you can see from the peak in June 2006, there has been a very rapid fall-off in the level of borrowing that the private sector is carrying on. Note too, though, it's still at about 10%. Now, what this means is that there's less money going into circulation. People are paying back their previous debts to the banks. And they're paying them back faster than new loans are being taken out. Because that 10% not only goes to borrow, to enable people to pay their interest, this country is running a balance of payments deficit. And so that borrowing, in fact, is necessary for us to support the present rate of consumption. So we've got, if you take the interest away from that 10% that people are paying, and you take the balance of payments deficit that we're running away, then the money supply is shrinking. And it began to shrink in April this year. Now think what that means. It means that there's less and less money in circulation. So it becomes progressively difficult for people to get the money together to be able to service their existing loans. It also becomes more and more difficult for businesses to function. I ran a business for 10 years, and this was in 1979, 1980, 1981, a time when interest rates, there was a huge credit squeeze to stop the effects of the second OPEC oil price crisis working its way through. And money was very, very short, and I spent a long time on the telephone chasing people who owed me money, my customers, and in turn I was always being chased by my suppliers to whom I owed money. And I wouldn't let my customers buy anymore until they paid me off. But I couldn't buy from my suppliers either until I paid them off. And the whole system sludges up. So we're getting into very dangerous waters as the money supply contracts. So this is how mortgage lending has fallen off. So it's you can see that it's fallen off from a total of 3,000 million to only 500 million at the moment. And that's a sort of measure of the rate of injection that we might need to start putting money back into the economy. In some way, we've got to reinvigorate the economy. We've got to invent, essentially, another boom. And one of the things that Feasta is urging at the moment, we're saying there is only one thing which this country should be borrowing for at the moment, because as you'll see from the later slides, we're grotesquely over-borrowed. The only thing that we should be prepared to borrow for at the moment is something that reduces our energy use or enables us to develop our renewable energy sources. Because even though oil prices have dropped, very considerably from the high price earlier this year. That is only temporary. Part of that is hedge funds unloading. And if any of you saw the Financial Times a week ago with its leaked account of what the International Energy Agency is projecting for future oil supplies, what they're saying is that the existing fields, the fields that are in production at the moment, their output is likely to start dropping off at over 9% a year. Even if with massive investment, that rate is going to be about 6% of the per year. And it is possible, they say, that new fields will be able to be opened, but that is going to mean that the production of conventional oil, the best they can hope for is that the production of conventional oil will be on a plateau. And what all the signs are that because of the depression, because of the lower prices, that this energy is not coming through. So Ireland gets 90% of its energy abroad. The cost of this is going to increase significantly in terms of what we have to make, the services that we have to provide and sell abroad in order to be able to get this. So the best way that we can start borrowing again, start pumping money into the crazy money system that we've got, is for the government to borrow itself and use it to catalyse a mass of other borrowing based initially on the transition to a very low carbon economy. But that's still going to leave a problem. And the problem is in the property sector. And this is where Chris's solution begins to come in. This shows how Irish house prices got out of line. The 10,000 over there is the price of the average house in 1977 pounds. And you can see that, allowing for inflation, they were more or less on a plateau, and then things began to go wrong in 1996. You know, exactly the time that it became known that we were going to be moving into the Eurozone. And you can see that, in fact, they rose to three times that level. That was the time that the regulators should have started stopping the banks giving ever more generous terms for mortgages. This is what happened in the US from 2.8 times the median family income, but the historic level, it shot up to 3.8. In other words, the United States housing bubble wasn't nearly as bad as that in this country. This is what happened in Britain. 3.5 times seems to be the average family income, seems to be the reasonable level there. It went up to 6 times and is falling back. In Ireland, I mean, we didn't even get a doubling in Britain. But look what happened in Ireland. 1996, it took the average man on the average industrial wage 209 weeks' work to buy the average house. That rose in 2007 to 472 weeks. So that is more than a doubling. So people who expect house prices to halve are probably not far off the mark. In fact, it could be worse than that, because in the current circumstances, we may well get an overshoot. But of course, what this means is that nobody is rushing to buy houses at the moment, and very few new mortgages are being taken out at the moment.